Hallo, herzlich willkommen bei Afrika Outlook. Schön, dass Sie wieder dabei sind. Heute geht es um Schwarz, erfolgreich und unabhängig sein. Black-owned Business. Hier habe ich zwei hervorragende Gäste. Zum einen Marvin A. Smith, Star-Choreograf, Creative Director. Er hat mit unzähligen Superstars auf der ganzen Welt gearbeitet. Zum anderen Kobi Rock, Singer, Songwriter und Musikunternehmer. Es freut mich sehr, diese beiden Herren begrüßen zu dürfen. Hey Marvin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Kobi, freut mich, dass du da bist. Wie geht's?
Hey, freut mich auch, dass ich hier sein darf. Nice auf jeden Fall. Mir geht's gut. Wie geht's dir?
Danke, danke. Mir geht's recht gut. Ich bedanke mich. Marvin, you've been on many places. In your life from time, acted on stages, supported people to shine. But tell me, how did everything start it up?
Well, it was a long time ago.
Yes.
You know, I always knew that I was going to be in the entertainment world. Mm-hmm. I always knew that. And it started off at first with me wanting to be on stage. So I started out and I went to SCPA, which is the School of Creative and Performing Arts. So it's something like, I guess you would know it like Fame, where you go and you act and sing and dance. So I went to school like that. And when I started performing after school, I started doing my thing, I realized that my personal magic, my superpower was to make other people better. Mm-hmm. And through that, I wanted to develop my own voice, and my voice meaning my movement and the quality of movement and how people seen things visually, the spectators seeing things visually on stage or on a TV show or in a movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I started to develop that. And I personally had the pleasure to work with great artists and work on great projects. But like I said, I very quickly and at a very young age understood what my superpower was. And I really want to hone in on that. And then I started to study and develop that. So the main thing, I think in short, is to say, I knew that my power came from my passion. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that a lot of us need to remember. Your passion has a lot of energy to it. And if you focus on your passion and focus on your vision, it really propels you through a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's where it started. And I had no idea. I'm from California. I had no idea that I was going to kind of travel this world several times over. So that's kind of how it started.
Nice.
And where it ends, who knows?
Nobody knows, as long as you go the way. Im Großen und Ganzen, Marvin hat gesagt, er hat angefangen als Künstler und hat aber ziemlich früh bemerkt, dass er andere Leute unterstützen kann, das gewisse Etwas aus ihnen herauszuholen. Und das hat er eigentlich verfolgt. Und dahingehend ging es halt in die Richtung, dass er diese Menschen unterstützt hat, dass er choreografiert hat, dass er später auch als Creative Director tätig war. Also kurz zusammengefasst. Just explain the audience in German what you said.
I am so sorry. Thank you for doing that for me. I'm the only one here that doesn't speak German.
No problem. No problem at all. And furthermore, because you made yourself a name in the States, and then afterwards, you chose to come to Germany. But why Germany? I mean, who convinced you? What happened?
You know, that sounds so bad.
No, because Germany is not the epicenter of art and, I don't know, music, entertainment in comparison to the States.
It's going to be.
Thank you.
In comparison to the States. I mean, you're here for quite a time.
Yeah, I have. I've been here for quite a time, and I've been going back and forth in the beginning, I was more going back and forth. And then I started to really build something here. But the truth of the matter is, Germany is the second largest music market in the world. Mm-hmm. Most people forget that. A lot of people would assume America's number one, which is true, and then they would probably go to UK, and then they would probably go somewhere in Asia because it's just so big. But Germany is actually the second largest music market in the world. And how I got here, that's a very interesting thing. It was when I was on stage, we were working and we kept coming back and forth through Germany, different tours, different artists, filming different things here and there. And I made a lot of connections when I was here. This is when I was still on stage. And we have a thing at home that's called hiatus. And everything works in a season. So you have, let's say, sitcom season when all the new sitcoms are coming out. Then there's a hiatus. And after that, everything stops. So nothing in Hollywood works. Everything is done as far as television, film, music, it stopped. We're on a hiatus. And at that time, we were going on hiatus, and coming from California, where I come from California, we're like, oh, hiatus, we're going to sit back, sit by the pool, hey, and just wait for your agent to call.
Exactly.
And then when I moved to not to California, when I moved to New York has they have a different DNA there. And in New York, you really have to be out pounding the pavement constantly, which is a bit different from California. California, we all have agents, we all have managers, we're just waiting for the phone to ring. Oh, Marvin, you have an audition here, you have an audition there. It's like, great. But in New York, it's not like that. You have to get up every day, and you have to really go and do your thing. So when we were on hiatus, I was going, well, I had finished all these tours, and I was always through back and forth and in and out of Germany, or Europe for that matter. And we were on a hiatus. I was like, well, we're not making, there's no money to be made. There's no shows to be had. So what are we going to do? I just can't be sitting around doing nothing. So I started making other contacts. I started calling the people up and sending, I was going to say emails, but there weren't emails at that time. It was barely fax. Was it?
Fax.
There's faxes. Remember you get that fax, that long fax, going out the fax machine. So that's what I was doing. And then that's how I kind of started building a relationship with Germany. The first thing that I did here, it was the Düsseldorf Schauspielhaus had asked me to do West Side Story. So I came and I choreographed West Side Story. And that was my first big thing here in Germany. And I was incredibly young. And that ended up getting me a nomination for Best Choreography in a Musical for Germany, Switzerland, Austria. I didn't win it. Arlene Phillips, no. Bob Fosse won, and Arlene Phillips Bob Fosse's been dead for years, but Arlene Phillips took that award, obviously. But I was so glad to be nominated up with, Bob Fosse and all these amazing people that I've looked up to. And that was the start of everything. That was the start of everything. So I was going back and forth at that time. And then one thing led to another, and then I started to really build something. I didn't know that I was doing it at the time. I was just, you're young, you're excited, you're just staying in contact and kind of massaging your creativity, and one thing led to another, and I'm still here, and I started building things, and it just worked out.
We are glad that you're still here.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Ja, im Großen und Ganzen, die Situation war wie folgt. Ich habe ihn gefragt, warum er letztendlich in Deutschland gelandet ist. Und er war ja in L.A. tätig, als auch in New York, aber es sind unterschiedliche Situationen. In L.A. gibt es eine Phase, oder in Amerika, wo halt die ganzen Produktionen in einem Zeitraum durchgeführt werden und dann ist so eine luftleere Zeit, wo man nichts macht. Die LA-Leute, die entspannen sich, erholen sich eine Weile. In New York ist es ein wenig anders. Dort muss man weiterhin permanent, wie man so schön sagt, hustlen. Und während dieser freien Zeit hat Marvin sich halt gekümmert und hat sich gedacht, ich hatte auch ein paar Kontakte geknüpft und demzufolge hat er den Kontakt auch in Amerika gesucht und hat auch aufgebaut, sodass er dann hierher gekommen ist und für Schauspieler aus Düsseldorf tätig war und dahingehend auch sehr, sehr erfolgreich und wurde auch nominiert für die beste Choreografie, hat leider zu dem Zeitpunkt noch nicht gewonnen, aber er hat ja noch weiterhin Karriere gemacht und deswegen sind wir froh, dass Marvin weiterhin nach wie vor hier in Deutschland ist. But furthermore, isn't it a certain kind of culture shock? I mean, you came from the States, LA, sunshine, and then you're over here. What happened? How are the people for you in Germany?
I think a culture shock is a bit of an understatement. In the beginning, you didn't notice anything. In the beginning, you didn't notice the differences because when I was still working, one day you're in Australia, then you're in Japan, then you're in China, then you're in Italy, then you're in Germany, and you're just so consumed with doing what you're doing, and so consumed with mastering your talent and your craft. So when I finally spent a lot of time in Germany, in the beginning I didn't notice. I didn't notice the differences because I was really worried about what I was doing and working on my craft. And once you settled in, or once I settled in, I realized, wow, this is totally different. It's totally, totally different. I understood the general things, like the stores are closed on Sunday. Why? I have no idea. Why you can't go to the store on Sunday? I have no idea. But it wasn't those things that got me. It was the way that we communicated with each other. I started to see a difference in the communication between a certain type of people and another type of people. And I thought that was very interesting, because I thought Germany was a forward-thinking country. And it was a little bit of a rude awakening. It was kind of hard for, like, oh, wow, okay. And once I understood it, I was like, okay, so these are the things that I have to work on. And what I had to do at that time is I knew that I had to be not only as good as I could be, I had to be better than most people, at least in my mind. And I knew that this wasn't about my journey, it was about everyone that came after me, or everyone that looked like me, because my name was slowly growing to be very known. So that means everyone was looking at me and using me as an example or as a scapegoat to say, see, about this and that. Yes. So I knew from a very early time when I got here to Germany that I was going to have to put it into another gear. So me being on time and me being, over-prepared and over-ready, just not to give anyone else something to say. Yeah, okay. That became very real to me, which I didn't have to experience that at home. Okay. That was something totally different.
So basically it was a positive experience then?
It was a positive experience, but the way we got there, it seems to be very negative. And I think it seems to be very negative because a lot of people were not used to seeing Black people in the position that I was rising into. So they weren't used to seeing it, therefore they didn't know how to communicate. They didn't know how to take it. And they wanted to see me a certain way. And I was very adamant, making it clear, please do not put me in a box. Whatever box you want to put me in, I don't fit there.
Gotcha.
You clearly don't have a box big enough. But that was the thing.
Ich will es noch mal kurz zusammenfassen. Ich habe ihn gefragt, warum er nach Deutschland gekommen ist. Also ich meine, in Amerika, Hollywood, Musikszene ziemlich groß. Warum dann halt den deutschen Markt? Der deutsche Markt ist eigentlich auch der zweitgrößte Markt, aber nichtsdestotrotz sind Unterschiede da. Zudem wollte ich in Erfahrung bringen, ob vielleicht ein kultureller Aspekt einfach mal hervorgehoben werden sollte, weil es zwei verschiedene Welten sind. Er sagte, es war am Anfang schwierig, zumal, naja, sonntags sind die Geschäfte geschlossen, er weiß immer noch nicht warum. Und zum anderen war es auch so, dass er sich auch entwickelt hat, auch pünktlich da zu sein, sich das Beste aus sich herauszuholen, auch auf einer gewissen Ebene agieren zu können in der Geschäftswelt. Und er wollte halt nicht in eine gewisse Schublade reingesteckt werden, wo halt Schwarze immer reingesteckt werden. Und er wollte auf Augenhöhe mit anderen Leuten businesstechnisch auch agieren können. Und deswegen geht er halt weiterhin seinen Weg, um halt erfolgreich da sein zu können und keine große Angriffsfläche zu bieten. Deswegen ist er on point. Talking about shocks, I mean, in the music industry, basically everybody knows you. You're the man behind the scenes. But most of the people in Germany that might not know with whom you've been working. Basically, I can say, in my perspective, I think Germany's #1 artist, for instance, Helene Fischer, you've been working with her. How is it for you? Because, I mean, everybody sees what she's been doing but you're the man behind it, or used to be the man. How's it for you?
That's an interesting question, and I get asked that question a lot. It doesn't matter, and it didn't matter if I was working with Helena or Roger Cicero or Sarah Connor or Monroe's or Angels or whoever it was. The objective was always the same. And the objective is to make you feel as safe and as comfortable and to have you shine as bright as you possibly can. And the devil is in the details. A lot of people, they commit to doing things, but they don't focus on execution. So for me, especially when I started working in the Schlager world with Helena, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'd never heard this type of music before. And we don't have Schlager at home, and we don't have anything that's comparable. A lot of people would say maybe folk music or country.
I would say country music. Huh?
And it's not.
No?
No? Country or not?
No, I would say country music.
No, because the country music at home is Dixie Chicks and Taylor Swift, and even the old country music, which would be Dolly Parton. It doesn't sound like In Ma Vida.
Fair enough.
That's a whole nother type of thing.